Right, with this, before we move on, let me quickly make a quick announcement here for all the delegates and panelists especially. To keep yourself abreast of developments and further details, subscribe to BW Business World Group magazines. It would add to your professional quest for knowledge and insight. There are valuable offers for you. For more details, contact Mr. Vinod Kumar at registration counter. That's outside. Okay, with this, it's time we move on to our third panel discussion for the day, and we'll be talking about Challengers 2.0, new brands in the ever-evolving D2C segment. Please join me in welcoming our moderator for this one, Mr. Ruhail Amin, Senior Editor, Exchange for Media, with a huge round of applause. That's your panel. I need you all to show some love and put your hands together for all of them.
Thank you. While Samayesh is getting his coffee, we can begin without, further ado. Topic is interesting, new brands in the ever-evolving D2C segment. Of course, I think D2C has always been seen as a category that has taken on the bigger ones, like the bigger FMCG giants, but that's not the case anymore. I think within D2C now, you have to compete with a whole lot of new brands that are coming up. And it's not an easy story. So you have two pressures, dealing with the giants and dealing with the category itself. So let me begin with you, Mr. Raheja. Let me begin with you. That Samayesh, please join us. How do you build a category in such a cluttered space? All of you have success stories and stand out. Now you have two competitions. One is with the bigger giants and within. What is the way you are dealing with this new space of D2C that is emerging and is there?
Thank you. So what you said is absolutely right, where we are trying to compete with D2C and the established brands. But I personally think there is no competition there. The reason there is no competition there is because the market also is growing at the same pace. So the big brands enjoyed smaller markets and built concentration. Now that the market is growing, visibility is growing, platforms are growing, opportunity to sell is growing, and so is the population. So there is actually, technically, there is no challenge that you should be facing. What is most important is how do you get it right? How do you get your product right? How do you get the quality of the product right? How do you get the packaging right? And then most importantly, today I think, I don't know whether I would say thanks to COVID or because of COVID, a lot of people have wanted to take products home. They wanted it at the comfort of their house. Now that apart from COVID, what it also did was the traffic on the roads, the difficult days people have, and they don't want to venture out to go and bring it. So that's where we see that the D2C brands actually caught the situation or caught the problem in the system, and now the big boys are coming to master it because they also have infrastructure. So I don't see there's a major challenge or competition there. I think it's perfect inroads if it's blended rightly. You came to ask me about what I did. So we created a product which does not exist. So we brought pan, which was sold at the corner of the road, into mainline. We became the consumer category creator of pan. Today, we sell pan delivered to your house in the comfort of your house in the most hygienic way. So what I'm trying to tell everybody is that you have to sit down and ask yourself, what is it that you, as a consumer on a product that you consume, want as an experience, and then build your product or category around it.
Absolutely. I think converting this pawn into a business has not been an easy story, and you've proven it. Hemangi, let me ask you a bit about your journey, and how do you stand out of this clutter that we see around in the D2C space?
First of all, thank you so much for having me on this panel. It's a great experience. Second of all, like Prem said, I don't know if COVID was a blessing for D2C brands, because it automatically sort of created a space where people wanted to shop products and actually became really aware of health, wellness. That also got a new segment of clean skincare, clean beauty, plant-based. And people started getting really intrigued by, what are we eating and what are we using on our skin. So for me, I think the journey has been pretty interesting because during the entire 2 years of COVID, I was actually formulating skincare products from my kitchen. And I got the opportunity to collect zero-party data by giving friends, family, community members products that probably didn't exist. So one such product that I'm doing right now is a neck cream. So the space, the competition is not high at all because nobody else in the market is currently doing a cream just dedicated for the neck. And I think that the market is really saturated within the skincare field, but the education around it isn't as high. So I think that COVID gave us the chance and experience to actually connect with our consumers one-to-one, explain to them that, this is what is required, this is what is needed, and they also got the opportunity to connect with the brands directly and see what's right for them and what works for them.
Interesting. I would call it K2C. You started from kitchen, right? But it's very interesting, the space you are operating in now. Neck creams, I haven't seen an ad so far. Maybe, the right time to have one. Aditya, your story is again a little different. And you chose, I was looking at a small film on your website yesterday. Of course, I got the back end why you did it. But isn't it a category that has, a certain limitation also? How do you stay profitable in that category? What is it like, operating in that category, which is already in a tier 2, tier 3 market?
Right. So you correctly said that, we have had a very different journey. We did not specially start as a D2C brand, but it was a college project in SRCC, where I graduated from 2 years back, when we were helping this community of artisans who were practicing India's only UNESCO-listed craft form. And then we were trying to, it just started as a passion project for us, to connect these artisans with the consumers. So for us as well, at that time it was just T2C, wherein T stands for the Thatheras, or the artisans that we work with, right? And when we looked at the overall market, it was a super unorganized market, right? Like these kind of utensils. There was no brand. People were going out in the market. They were buying cheap copper bottles or brassware products which were not truly authentic, right? So for us, the entire mission and vision became to provide two things, right? It was about providing authentic and artisanal based products, right? Number one, to ensure that the kind of products that we are selling out in the market, they are of utmost pure quality, so that we stand out from the competition. And number two, it was more about ensuring that these are all artisanal, handmade products, and we are able to connect the story of these artisans with the story of the consumers, right? So in that way, we evolved ourselves from just being a college project to now being a full-fledged brand, delivering all across the world and ensuring that, there's a market and there's a brand that people can go for these kind of products, right? And as Prem and Hemangi also mentioned, COVID was a breakthrough point for us as well, right? Because that was the time when people started focusing on their health. So instead of just focusing on what they were eating or what they were consuming, they also started focusing on how were they consuming those products. And that's how it helped us to market our Ayurvedic purpose, right? Which is, you should cook in brass, you should drink in copper, and you should eat in Kansa, the three metals that we deal in. And that eventually helped us to scale that brand during COVID as well.
Wonderful. One common thing, if you notice on the panel, is when we talk about starting a business, it need not be an earth-shattering idea. A simple idea can be converted into a very profitable business, but you should know how to do it, because you see the categories have been there before, but they are disrupting it still. I think that's the key takeaway of when we talk about ideas, what should we do next? Ayushi, little bit about your journey when already there are so many players in that space. What inspired you, and what have you learned from the bigger brands that were already operating in the category? What did you take away from them and implemented that made it the success story that it is?
First of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts. Yes, you are absolutely right. Like, we are into the FMCG category. majorly the ghee and oils space. And like you rightly said, the category is already big enough. There have been brands which have been operating in this space for at least 50 years. And along with them, there have been a lot of newer incumbents also. I keep seeing like new Facebook ads, Instagram ads, every now and then from a new brand. I think we have learned a lot, both from the old FMCG brands as well as from the new players. From the old brands, specifically if I talk about the FMCG category, I think HUL, ITC, PNG, these are the biggest names. So what you can learn from them is basically building the right kind of distribution network, doing the right kind of marketing, targeted marketing. So reading a lot of books of, following all these people, how they are doing it, and their, focus on profitability and managing costs, because FMCG business is not like a very high margin business, unlike, beauty industry or fashion industry. And especially in commodity products like, staples, etc., people operate on very thin margins. But given our product, it's slightly premium, so we do have, slightly better margins. So profitability, marketing, building a distribution network, going offline is what we have learned from these, old brands. And talking about the newer brands, right? I think because the customers are evolving, people do want new things. People do want better packaging, better experience, better product quality. So we have learned all these things from the newer incumbents, and using online, especially after COVID, like everybody has been mentioning, there has been an increased focus on health. So people are looking for better for you options, especially in the food category. So how to promote that using social media, using your website, is what that we can learn from the newer D2C brands.
Wonderful, wonderful. Some really close observation, sorry, and takeaways from bigger brands implemented. Vaibhav, normally when we start a new business, we look at pain points or gaps, and then we address those, right? In your space, again, a lot of Me Too's around, So what prompted you to look at this particular sector, and what gave you hope that it can become that big business? How did it pan out to become a business for you?
So actually I was, for the 5 years before I started my business, I was working with companies like the Man Company, Growers, handling the digital stack, leading the growth part. So beauty personal care dekh rakha tha, and we saw that supplement is an extension of it. People are applying beauty products, but they are not satisfied with the results, not because the products are not effective, but जंक कितना खा रहे हैं, डाइट अच्छी नहीं है, तो उसके बाद अंदर से बॉडी से कुछ नहीं आ रहा है. So we saw that there is a gap, and I used to sleep around 4 in the night on a daily basis. I saw that there are these supplements in the Western countries which people take very normally. They don't feel any stigma around it, and it's a normal thing to it. It's not something like neem ki goli, but a normal dietary supplement. I got them imported. I had them myself. So I saw the changes, and I saw that this is something, because in India people take it as a stigma. So I saw that we can do something about it, something around it, where we can make the communication around supplements fun, and as soon as we make it fun, make people to make their first purchase, then the product will speak for itself and people will come in for repeats. That's how we started, and our strength has been around the marketing, how we communicate. We test around 100 to 150 ads on a monthly basis, and that's about it. We only stick to it, and यही सीखा था पिछले 5 साल में, so that's what we are applying here.
Great. Samayesh, I should give you the bravery award because आपने ऐसी category choose की जहाँ पे super cluttered coffee. How did you turn it around and make it कि people should drink Beanly now and forget about other coffees? I mean, what was that part? What is that sauce, that magic sauce that Beanly did?
So I think the category obviously is very cluttered today, but जब हमने start किया था, it got cluttered post that. And for us, we had this clarity and thought that when we were building this category out, there was a differentiator product that we started with. So at that point, instant coffee was a large part of what India consumed. And we started with these drip and pour over bags, making freshly brewed coffee easily accessible to India. So I think starting with a differentiator product, you eventually do grow in and build a little bit of brand credibility, and obviously Me Too's do follow after that. So it's not that we haven't followed in line with instant coffees as well, but I think the hook and the anchor product was very, very different. And every brand has its own journey, and I think evolution is but natural. And given that this category has such a, it's one of the stickiest categories, so there is a lot of scope to build a product, ensure that your consumers try it, love it, and usually they don't change beyond that.
Get them addicted to it, right? Prem, one of the challenges of having business is staying profitable and managing customer expectations. Is it easy? I mean, how do you ensure profitability? It stays. How do you also manage customer expectations, and get them glued on to staying loyal to you? Also, when it comes to marketing of D2C brands, of course, they don't have very big budgets to go on a very large scale. Which are the platforms that have worked most for you?
Sure. So you're right. At the end of the day, whoever starts whatever business, he starts it to be profitable. I think in the last 7 years, what has happened, there's a euphoria where everybody is talking about burning money, expansion, hoping to turn profitable. I'm right now on cash burn, I'm on expansion mode. I think all that fun moment, all that euphoria moment is over. I think people need to get a reality check that today, the business or the way you want to build a business in this competitive world, because the world according to me is shrinking, is you need to target to be profitable within 12 months of operation. They say that you complete 1,000 days to know that you're successful in that business. So the first two things that people need to now start understanding is that you need to start turning profitable within 12 months, and you need to complete 1,000 days to say that is this business good for you? Is the sector good for you? Is the product good for you? Is the packaging good for you? Is the product acceptance good for you? The reason I'm saying this is that you came to customer expectation, but before customer expectation, I'd like to talk about marketing. I think today everybody feels that if I build a product, if I go to Instagram, if I go to Google AdWords, if I go X place, Y place, burn X amount of money, I get traffic, I get attention, it turns into leads. That lead gives me temporary business, and then when you go back to raise more money, the first thing that you hear from your investor is what is your average order value, what is your lifetime customer cost, what is your customer acquisition cost. The reality is that that's not going to stay forever. Why it's not going to stay forever is that you can't keep burning money. The only way that you can acquire a client while you're building a product is also working very closely on customer service. Now, I'll give you a little example about what we do. So we run a very small product which we brought into mainstream. So we brought the humble pan which was sold at the end of the road, delivered to the convenience of your house so that a woman could eat it, because when we started Betel, we were saying that the woman has able to travel all the world, but she's never comfortable to go and eat a pan, but she wants to eat that pan. So when we started Betel Leaf, we decided that we want to bring it home, we want to make it tobacco free, we want to make it 100% post-meal dessert. We brought in 45 flavors, and I as a consumer thought about what are all my expectations as a consumer I would want to eat a pan, and that's how we built it. What happens in customer service? Each one of us are customers buying some product or the other. Today what happens is, if you bought a product which you did not like, or it came damaged, or you want to replace, or you want to exchange, the most annoying thing that most of the brands do is connect you to a customer service, either a girl or an
chatbot, the worst,
chatbot,
yeah.
And the standard reply that comes is, we will check and get back to you. Your refund process will take 7 days. What did we do? We built an ecosystem saying we are the only company very actively taking orders on the phone by way of WhatsApp with 2 girls who handle it. Today, 67% of my customers who order on WhatsApp are women. 67% of the people who work for me are women, and it's very clear. Somebody ordered something on Swiggy, or somebody ordered something on my website or on my WhatsApp. The goods reached them, they've had an issue. I was expecting this pan to be cold. I didn't know you're making fresh pans. No questions asked. Sorry, we'll send you a new box. No questions asked.
Wow.
If somebody ordered from a city that we don't deliver,
Right.
we refund instantly. So the moral of this story is that when you want to acquire a client, bring the lifetime value down of the client and keep him there. Apart from the good product or average product or superlative product you made, the customer should be capable of reaching out to you and get an answer to his problem
Right,
immediately.
right, right.
That's
I
my
think-
take.
I think this is this is everywhere, but here is the differentiator. You don't talk to a chat bot, you have real people addressing it, and that becomes a success story for the brand, right?
I think more than, of course, chatting and bringing a personal touch is very important. I think
Right.
the success to a brand or the success to customer retention is that the customer gets instant gratification / answer to his query / problem or disappointment.
Right. Sorry, I'm out of time on this, but yes, the pan is no longer that humble as it used to be, thanks to you. Ayushi, let me ask you this: staying profitable in your category, how do you ensure it? How do you ensure customer retention?
I think profitability is a tough one, especially for first-time founders, because first of all, it takes time to understand your P&L, your MIS. We started 3.5 years ago, and उस time पे मतलब मुझे तो कुछ पता ही नहीं था कि यार क्या होता है P&L, कैसे देखते हैं profitability, etc. So the number one step is to get your financial reporting in place from day one and start looking at it at least at a monthly level. If you can go to a weekly level, great, but start looking at it first, right? Once you have done that, once you start understanding it, figure out which are those sections where you can optimize, right? Maybe you are giving out more money on your COGS. You are spending more on manufacturing, right? And so go out in the market and check what other people are getting as their manufacturing cost and try to optimize that if required. Number two, as most of the brands recently are doing, they are probably running out of costs on performance marketing. So if that is the case, then again you have to figure out like how you can optimize it, or it could be rents or salaries. So figure out what's going wrong. And thirdly, profitability is something that not only founders can take care of. It has to be a culture in your company. It comes as a team effort, right? So try to come up with a quarterly and a yearly business plan that this is the amount of money that you have in your account, and you have to distribute it into different parts of the business.
Right.
And then convey the same thing to your team leads, to the other team members, and get them on board that, this is my cost for marketing for this quarter. Now let's plan how we can, spend it in the right way.
Right, right.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Look at your P&L from the beginning. Try to be as disciplined, right? That is where
Yes,
the
and it's a
takeaway is.
learning process. Like
Right.
I think I have learned it in the last 6 to 8 months when the market was not very good and everybody was running out of cash, and
Right.
we eventually ended up improving our EBITDA by 20-30%.
Right.
So it's a learning process.
Absolutely. Aditya, your category again, very niche. There has to be a lot of convincing which has to be done. One is from a marketing perspective, what has worked for you the best? Which platform has given you real business? Want to understand from you.
Sure. So, we are dealing in a very high AOV category, right? Our average order value on the website is roughly around 5,000 rupees, and on the retail store that we have in Delhi, it's around 12,000 rupees, right? So when the average order value is also high, a customer is spending so much, they have a lot of expectations. They come with a lot of expectations, and our thesis since day one has been very simple. It is to under promise and over deliver, right? And we just try to ensure that our journey doesn't just end at acquiring a customer or in terms of our marketing channels, but more so starts after a product has been delivered, right? That's where the real journey starts. And in terms of our marketing channels, our own Instagram page is something that we have been very bullish on since day one, because the kind of storytelling, the kind of content that we put out, our idea always is to, not just ensure that the viewers become consumer of our products, but most importantly, they become consumer of our stories or consumer of the content that we put out, right? Because we have built a brand with purpose, and in a niche category like ours, it's very important to convince the consumer as to, why they should buy the product, right? Why they should not buy something which is easily available at 1,000 rupees, but go for a purchase which is 4x the price that is available in the market, because we stand for a purpose, right? Because we just don't care about selling a product to a large pool of customers, but selling maybe to a few pool of customers, but delivering to those customers very well. And, delivering to that promise and ensuring that we stay with them till the last and not just focus on growing fast.
Right. Hemangi, let me, the challenge with the category that you're operating in is so super niche that does tier 2, tier 3 figure out in that? I mean, do you think there are buyers who are willing to try this out, or is still being, tested in the tier 1? What is the category like, So
skincare beauty segment is an extremely saturated industry in general and has been around for 40, 50 years. So tier 2, tier 3 is definitely and has always been a really huge market for us. I think the technology advancements, the high disposable incomes that tier 2, tier 3 cities, the people are now getting is definitely beneficial. And I think the aspirational value has to play a very high role, that everyone wants international looking, luxurious products, offering them the, the claims like brightening skin, not having dull skin, removing flakes, getting rid of dry skin, but also at affordable prices. So for us, our most expensive product is $799. We're also making everything plant-based. We're also sustainable. We're also promoting biocompatibility in your skin. So now the time comes is more to focus on education in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, rather than, trying to sell them a more expensive product. So for me, I think the penetration has been accessible through being online on marketplaces like Nykaa, Amazon, Flipkart, and also I think offline distribution will help in this process.
Right. Samayesh, in your category, again, profitability is, it's not an easy thing. How have you nailed that profitability code?
It's very interesting that everybody today is talking about profitability. It's probably how the market sentiment is today. But we also have to very consciously look at how founders go about building their business. The aim has never been to go out and blow money, and the fundamentals of business haven't really changed. Growth has always been a factor, and that is what impacts profitability. And given the category that we operate in, a way to measure the capital that you're burning versus profitability and when it's going to approach, there is retention rate. So given that coffee is such a sticky product, you don't change it many times. That's our largest problem, as well as one of our biggest moats. Once we acquire a consumer, there is a 90% chance that we're going to retain him for longer. Obviously profitability is a metric we chase after, but at the stage that most startups are at, it's not something that should impact growth.
Right. Absolutely. Final question, Vaibhav, to you. As far as the marketing is concerned, which platform has worked best for you? What approach has worked best for you?
So platform-wise, I think Meta is the only platform which is actually scalable for businesses like us in the earlier stages. So we advertise a lot on Facebook, Instagram. Instagram for us is at around 92,000 plus community. And the approach is simple. We just go in with the creatives. We test 100, 150, 200 ads in a month. We keep testing. We keep seeing the results. We keep iterating. We keep testing. We keep iterating, keep testing. And that's about it. Nothing fancy.
So I have a minute, so in 2 minutes we'll wrap up. My final question to all of you, starting with you, Aditya. You know, a lot of people here, I mean, they'll get inspired by all the success stories that I hear, here. What is your advice to budding entrepreneurs, especially in the D2C category? Yes.
I only have, I think, one really relevant advice, which I've used for myself as well. Stay relentless.
All right. Prem.
So my advice to somebody who wants to start a D2C business is, it may look fancy outside, but don't forget the hard work, because the hard work is the most important thing. All the fancy makes us feel that it'll just happen. It's not going to happen. The reality will bite you.
So I think everybody said exactly the same. It's irrespective of what you're getting into. If you love it, go for it.
Let's hear from Hemangi. Sorry, Aditya, sorry, Ayushi, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Nice.
I think D2C is a game of complete patience. You can't build D2C brand in like a year or so, like how technology companies or startups do that. So it requires a lot of patience. And secondly, I think one should not fall for just scaling and forgetting about unit economics and profitability, because that is the utmost important thing. You fix your unit economics first, and then think about scaling using funds.
Okay, Raven is standing here. Quick words from you.
Yeah, my idea is that, all the entrepreneurs should not just move towards building a fast growing business, but just focus on building something that lasts till the end, because that's what matters.
For me, I think we should just have fun. Agar you are having fun, even a bigger problem would seem small. If you are not having fun, even a formula going wrong in Excel will seem like a big stress. So just keep having fun and be at it.
Don't forget to have fun while building your business. Thank you on that note. Thanks for talking to us. Thank you.
Can I please request all of you to take a picture with us? And I would like to request Mr. Himanshu Nagrecha, Vice President for Traffic Guard, to help us felicitate all the speakers here for their valuable time. You want to stay back on the stage for 1 more minute? Ma'am, if you can join us back on the stage for a bit. We've got some goodies waiting for you. Yes, thank you. Mr. Himanshu Nagrecha is making his way on the stage right now. Thank you so much, Mr. Nagrecha. And